What up, everybody? It's the Vish Kumaran show. I'm Vish Kumaran, and the 49ers just made a humongous move last night, about 8 or 9 hours ago, and traded for the Panthers star running back, Christian McCaffrey. I did start the show without Rich just because I'm on a little bit of a time crunch and I wanted to make sure I got it in. He will come in here, I think, in a little bit. And I wanted to focus, our conversation a little bit more on some of the schematic elements that Christian McCaffrey is going to bring because there's a lot. Both of us have been watching Christian McCaffrey on film all morning, and he's really fun. But let me first give you my thoughts on the move. I thought it was a great move. And I know I'm a 49ers fan, and that inherently makes me slightly biased, but I feel like I do a decent job of being pretty objective and pretty fair when it comes to evaluating 49ers moves. I'm usually a little more analytical, so I don't like when you trade that much for a running back, but it's a little different with Christian McCaffrey. I'm going to tell you why. I truly think Christian McCaffrey is a special, special player. Like when I watched him this morning, and I was watching him. To me, he's just underrated. Like that's the word I would use to describe Christian McCaffrey. He's underrated. Like people don't realize how good Christian McCaffrey is. Just from the standpoint of when we're talking the best running backs in the game, I think this year most people would go Saquon Barkley, Nick Chubb. I would take Christian McCaffrey just probably above anybody else. I think that first off, when you talk about him as a runner, he is exceptionally gifted. He has incredible vision and patience, but he also mixes that with a natural decisiveness. And it's something Shanahan talks about within his backs, right? He wants his backs to be very decisive, one cut, see it, hit it with explosiveness. That was kind of the style. That's the style of, Tevin Coleman. That's the style of Elijah Mitchell, not the style of Trey Sermon, the style of Ty David Price. So you see the running backs that have worked out with Shanahan have that style. Trey Sermon is the other end of the spectrum. He's got great processing. He's a little bit slower to the line. He likes seeing blocks develop. He likes setting up his blocks and then slowly being able to process which hole he should take. And that's his running style. Didn't fit with Shanahan. Christian McCaffrey is special because he brings elements of both. He has the incredible patience and vision and quickness to set up blocks. He sets up blocks at an unbelievable level. It's so subtle, but he's so quick and his short area quickness is just unbelievable and he has incredible burst. But then he also is very, very decisive where he will see it and hit it. I mean, there's a few plays. Rich sent me one this morning, actually, when he does get in here of, the Panthers running wineback zone. 49ers run wineback zone all the time. And, you see Jeff Wilson hit it, and then you see Christian McCaffrey, the explosion, the speed, the quickness that he hits it with. It's different. And it makes a big impact, right? And then we haven't even talked about Christian McCaffrey as a wide receiver and the receiving elements. He's a phenomenal route runner. He rarely takes extra steps. He's very efficient. His short area quickness is unbelievable. Like when people said that, he would be a Hall of Fame elite slot receiver coming out of the draft, they weren't wrong. Like, he could have been Edelman or Amendola or Welker in New England, caught 150 balls for, 5 or 6 straight years with Brady and put on a show. Like he's that good as a receiver and he's unbelievable with the ball in his hands. Like, I don't know. For me, this is just a massive move. I understand the facts, right? There's certain facts that you cannot argue, right? The Niners gave up more for a running back than they did for a Hall of Fame left tackle in Trent Williams. Now, there's way more details that we have to discuss with the stats, with the facts, right? Trent Williams was a guy who the Niners had to re-sign. He was a free agent in a year. Christian McCaffrey, they have to, take on his contract, which, by the way, isn't that bad. Less than $1 million of, cap hit this year, and then $12 million over 3 years. It's not that bad, especially for a player of his caliber. I don't know. I'm unbelievably high on this move. The Niners need to be able to run the football for their offense to be able to work. And we saw that last year their solution to get their run game going was Deebo Samuel. A lot of the talk this week, we've talked about it, right? The Niners offense isn't really explosive. They're not really running the ball well. Deebo's not going to solve the problems that he did last year. Doesn't matter. They just went and got Christian McCaffrey. And I know the health issues. I know he's a running back. But the caliber of the player is so good to me that it's all worth the risk. Like I legitimately am sitting here this morning, and maybe it's just that instant reaction, the high of the Niners, trading for Christian McCaffrey, my favorite team. And then, I'm watching him this morning and I'm watching some of his plays with Cam Newton. I'm watching him, earlier this year, all of that. And I legitimately can sit here and say that I think he might be the best weapon on the 49ers offense. And that's an offense with Debo Samuel and Brandon Ayuk and George Kittle. And I think Christian McCaffrey might be the best individual player out of all of those guys. And that's not a disrespect to those guys. It's just that I feel like the injuries and then Carolina being really crappy this year have kind of made me myself forget like how good he is as an individual football player. And then you're going back and watching it this morning and it's wow, he is really, really good. And then I think the biggest point to me is that this is a long-term move. He's only 26 years old. He actually, so I tweeted this morning. I don't know if some of you guys follow me on Twitter. Follow me, by the way, at Vish Kumaran. But I tweeted this morning that um, I believe that the 49ers, um, got Christian McCaffrey as a long-term move, right? Christian McCaffrey's best season in Carolina with Scott Turner. And it was with Kyle Allen. It was with Cam Newton too. With Cam Newton, we saw the full element of a shotgun run game where you have the quarterback 11 on 11 element to every single run play. It's the same thing the Niners tried to implement with Trey Lance. And Christian McCaffrey's most success came from running shotgun inside zone, which isn't what he did at Stanford. And it's a little bit different than what he's done the last couple of years and a little bit with Kyle Allen. But that's what he did with Cam Newton. Well, that's a perfect fit for what the 49ers are planning to do with Trey Lance eventually, right? Trey Lance, we saw, I tweeted it out. We saw the increase in 11 personnel, the use of Juwan Jennings over Kyle Juszczyk when he played to give the field more spacing. We saw the element of the inside running game. And, with how wide defenses are getting spread out with these tight and penny fronts, it's really important that you gash them in between the tackles. So, the wide zone element of the run game isn't really there the same way it used to be a couple years ago and stuff. And you throw in all of that, then Shanahan has attempted to find this kind of inside zone runner to pair with the read element of the offense. Trey Sermon was this coming out of college. Ty Davis Price is still this. And we haven't seen him be able to play that much yet. He's been injured, the sprained ankle. He came back. And then also he's just a rookie. And there's so much to this offense. And as a rookie, it can be hard to digest all of that very quickly. Well, Christian McCaffrey solves those problems. He brings all of that. And so, he's a great fit for Garoppolo in terms of being able to get the ball to somebody out of the backfield. He's amazing after the catch. He creates space very quickly. He's great off the line of scrimmage. He's an unbelievable route runner. All those things are true. But there's a long-term aspect to this trade that people are diminishing, underrating, overlooking just because of the attrition that goes into playing running back. But I don't think he's just going to be a pure running back because I think Jeff Wilson is still going to see some carries. I think Elijah Mitchell will see a lot of carries when he comes back. So I think Christian McCaffrey is not going to be maybe a total bell cow, so that's going to preserve his body. And if you can preserve his body, and Shanahan talked about how well he takes care of his body, man, I preface everything I say with I'm a 49ers fan. So there's an inherent bias within me, but I usually try to keep it 100. I try to keep it authentic to myself and objective. I cannot find a flaw with this move other than the fact that they gave up draft picks for a running back, which is maybe not my preferred, a running back on a second contract, which is maybe not my preferred move analytically. But then when you get into the schematics and what Christian McCaffrey offers as a player, it's a home run. Home run. Christian McCaffrey is generational. He's all-time talented. And you got to trade for all-time talented players. They make a big difference, especially in some of these bigger games. But that's kind of my brief thoughts immediate thoughts coming out with the Christian McCaffrey trade. I think we'll get Rich in here soon. I'm shooting him a text right now. wondering. I know he's really busy. I kind of threw it to him off the blue because we were texting back and forth, actually, watching Christian McCaffrey, watching how good he was, watching some of these run plays. So we were texting back and forth. I was like, yo, just hop on a stream so we can talk about this. So if he gets in here, he gets in here. But if he doesn't get in here, it's my fault, not his. I was trying to set a lot of different people up for today. And then, yeah, it didn't work out maybe the best type of way. But let's hope Rich gets here. Richie says, love CMC, but we need an upgrade more at QB than running back. Jimmy G won't win us a game when we need it. He won't lose us the game at best. We've seen it. And yeah, that's kind of true, right? But Garoppolo is still, I would say, I don't think a part of the long-term plans of this franchise, right? There's two discussions to acquiring Christian McCaffrey because you're right. And the 49ers agree with you. That's why they went and drafted Trey Lance. There's a need for an upgrade at QB. Garoppolo has also played well this year, besides the Denver game. The Rams game was shaky. He played very well against Carolina, and he played well against Atlanta. 2 good games back-to-back. We'll see if he carries on upon it. The offense is getting healthy, but we've seen issues with the offense in the sense that Shanahan needs to be able to run the football to kind of be able to control the game and, understand and be able to, do all the things he wants to do on offense. And if Christian McCaffrey helps him do that, I'm all for it. Christian McCaffrey is also, like I mentioned, a good fit with Lance as well, which is the other element of this. Like, he helps them win now because he's such a good player, but he's also only 26 years old, and there's an element where he fits perfectly with the quarterback they're gonna have next year. And we'll see where Lance is. We'll see what they end up doing. There's no guarantee that Lance just walks in as the starter the way he did this year, just because he is still so raw. And there's so much to that conversation. And we will digest and analyze and pick it apart over the next 5-6 months. After every Niners loss, I'm sure that's where the conversation goes. After Niners wins, it'll be, a different conversation. But this will be analyzed. Right now, I just think that Christian McCaffrey was an amazing acquisition for the 49ers because he is that good of a player. Smack Jones, 9919. I like the name. Says, pressure is on Kyle now, Vish. Weapons galore. Yeah, pressure is on Kyle. But what I like about Kyle is he seems to be relishing in this pressure, right? Like, he went and got Christian McCaffrey knowing what the reaction would be. He wants to go win the Super Bowl. I love that about him. They're being aggressive, right? They're doing everything that, fans want coaches and teams and players and all these people to do, but it's not exactly always prudent. In this case, I'm telling you I believe it's prudent. And I'm telling you I believe it's prudent because Christian McCaffrey is that good. I've spent 10 minutes now, 13 minutes just going on and on about Christian McCaffrey, but he is really that good. I don't know what else to say, but I agree with you, Smack Jones. The pressure is on Kyle, and I think Kyle is going to handle that pressure. We got the Krug show in the house. My man, Larry Kruger. And I think this might be Len or Larry, whoever it is, shout out. Make sure you're subscribed to the Krug show. Me and the Krug show have been trying to collaborate, actually, the last 2 weeks. We got one stream in with Larry last week, but we haven't been able to do it. Oh, and there he is. Here we go. We've got the man in the house. There he is. What is up?
How much? What's going on?
How do you feel this morning, Rich?
Aside from just tired from the rest of the week, I'm pretty hyped. I'm pretty hyped right now. If you haven't seen my timeline, I'm excited.
Yeah, it's exciting, right? So I just spent the first 10 minutes. I don't know if you watched, but I was literally just going on and on because I've been watching Christian McCaffrey this morning. I know you have a lot. He's so underrated. Like, I don't think people realize how good of a back he is still today. Can you elaborate on some of the things he's going to bring to this offense?
He's instantly probably the fastest guy out of the backfield. Even Mitchell's pretty fast, I think, once you get him in the open field, but even just watching those first initial steps that he takes when he's running the ball, it's night and day difference. You can just see the explosiveness, you can see the speed. And he's a smart player. On a lot of these runs, he's got to read a certain defender, like on duo, and he's quick. He sees where the linebacker fits, and he's instantly running the other way. He's a phenomenal athlete. He's a guy that I'd like to watch time and time again, like in the off season and things like that. And he's a guy that I wanted the 49ers to take with their second pick in 2017. He's just that kind of a player. Instant upgrade everywhere, all over the field for them.
Yeah, one of the things I noticed this morning, because you mentioned how smart he is to go on with what an athlete he is. One of the things I noticed, which has been a little bit far in between with the Niners backs, right? You have a spectrum of them. You have kind of the Mitchell and Tevin Colemans who just hit it super decisive. And if it's there, they'll get a big gain. But if it's not there, they're just throwing their body into contact, which is really what's happening. And then you have the other element, which is Trey Sermon, which is too patient, not decisive enough, trying to set up blocks and hit it too slow. When I was watching McCaffrey this morning, it was like this perfect blend where he processes it and he's decisive enough to hit it when it's there, but he's also patient enough to let the blocks develop. And he's so subtle, if you notice, in setting up blocks in terms of just being able to take a couple steps right or a couple steps left and let the block happen and then explode through it. That's really what I noticed. What do you see on that element?
Yeah, I posted one a little bit ago about the
Rich,
same.
You're muted. I don't know if. Oh, there we go.
Am I? Oh,
I can't hear you. Maybe with your AirPods, is the audio coming out of there?
Yeah, I can hear. Can you hear me? I'm connected.
I still can't hear you.
Can you hear me?
Maybe come back in.
Yeah.
All right. So while Rich comes back in and answers that, because I do like that particular point quite a bit, I will answer your question, my man Scotty Dippin. Oh, Rich's audio is fine? Is my audio okay? What up, Rich?
Can you hear me? Nothing?
You can't hear me?
I can hear you fine. Yeah, I can hear you.
Me. I can't hear you. Maybe I'll take off my AirPods.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Oh, it is my audio. I'll come back in. All right, Rich, that was your show for a little bit. You can hear me now?
Yeah, can you hear me?
I can't hear you. Whatever. We'll just continue because I can read your lips. I would just like you to answer that question about McCaffrey's processing and the mixture, because he has a great balance, right, between how decisive he is, but then how he uses his patience to set up blocks and process.
Okay. Yeah, can everybody else hear me? That's really weird. Yeah, he uses his blocks basically by reading the leverage of the what in the world?
That was my fault, but I'm back. I can hear you now. So you were talking about reading the leverage. Go ahead.
Yeah, he'll when he gets the ball, he's going to read the leverage of the blockers in front of him. So basically what that means is like reading their hips. And he's going to set those blocks up. So if he sees a lane and his blockers turned a certain way and that defender fitting on the other side, he's going to set that defender up and then cut back against that inside that leverage of his blocker. So there's a play that I posted on my timeline where he does this, and the Saints linebacker thinks he's going to plug that gap right there, and McCaffrey just cuts back inside his blockers and gets like a 7-yard gain out of it. Just the ability to read all that stuff as it happens is incredible. Can you hear me? So everybody's saying they can hear both of us, but you can't hear me.
So I'm going to have to come back in, Rich. I can't hear you again. Just keep going for a second by fault.
Okay, who's got questions? Anybody got any questions? Did you guys eat edibles before coming on? Not today. I got to go to work in a little while, so I can't do that. That's really weird. Everybody says they can hear both of us. I don't know. This is usually YouTube isn't I don't run these shows. I let all my buddies run this stuff and have them invite me on. So I don't know what's going on here. Did they pay too much for CMC? I don't think so. I think the capital was right for the pick or for the trade. You're not going to get anybody better at those picks in the draft.
Yeah, and I 100% agree with that, right? So thank you, Rich, for handling that. This is the Rich Madrid show, everybody. But now that we've solved this fantastic audio issue, you were talking about, McCaffrey's ability to set up blocks and stuff. And we focused on him as a runner a little bit. I know that you don't have a lot of time, so I want to keep it brief, right? Him as a receiver, I think he walks in and he's the best route runner on this team. Like, it's that good. Never takes too many steps. His short area quickness and change of direction is like unbelievable. I said earlier that, I haven't really been able to watch him other than, catching him on TV, besides when he came out of college, when I watched him a little bit. But when people said, he could be a 150 catch slot receiver, like, I think they were really right. His receiving is really special. What do you see with that?
I haven't gotten that far into it yet, but just like what I've seen in the past, yeah, it's again like he's running, like he's a running back out there with his abilities, like with the ability to cut, to make guys wrong at the top of his route. They're going to run a lot of choice routes with him.
Texas Panthers, right?
Yeah, Texas route. No, they don't run Texas routes in 49ers offense. They're going to use him a lot in the slot and out of the backfield, same way they do with Debo. It's like having another, like a faster, quicker, better Debo Samuel out there. They're going to do all the same stuff. He catches screen passes. He's going to go. He'll probably line up. Shanahan likes to line the running backs up out wide. He can easily line up out wide and run routes. And where he really wins is at the top of the route and shaking defenders and getting separation. So he's basically like he's like the ideal player for this type of offense.
Elite in pass protection too. That was one thing that stood out.
That doesn't get talked about enough.
Yeah. He's elite in pass protection, which, yeah. What do you think about the usage though, right? Because that's kind of the worry, because we know how special he is. Attrition is really the one worry. I don't think he's going to actually carry the ball like 20 times a game. I think he's going to be a three-headed backfield once Elijah Mitchell comes back.
Shanahan always talks about like the positionless football and getting your best players the ball every play, and they're adding another weapon. I don't think his usage is going to be what it was in Carolina. I mean, at any given time, there's Debo, Ayuk, Kittle, Juice, and a running back, McCaffrey. Some running back will be out there, maybe not. I mean, you got 5 guys on any given play who can get the ball. I don't think they're going to put him in a situation where they need to give him the ball 20, 25 times a game like he was in Carolina. I mean, going through some of the games that he played this season, it's absolutely ridiculous how many times he's getting the ball, and you're not going to get 10, 15, 20 yards every time you get him the ball. I mean, that's just not how it works in the NFL. and so those, he's taking a lot of hits, 2-3 yard gains, getting pounded, almost every play on some series. He's getting the ball, and I don't think his usage is going to be like that. And I think that's probably why he has the injury history he does, is because for a long time he was the Panthers' best offensive player outside of Cam Newton. And so you just feed him the ball. You feed him the ball constantly, he's going to take a pounding. I don't think he will in this offense. I think just the threat of him being out there as a decoy and getting other people the ball, or other people being a decoy and getting him the ball once in a while, is going to explode this offense in a way that we haven't seen yet this season.
I 100% agree. I think it goes a step further too, right? One thing I noticed while watching him is he also has a self-preservation quality, in the sense not he protects himself when he's running the ball, but in the sense that he's so elusive in the hole, it's really tough to square up and get a clean shot on him. Like you see.
Uh-oh. I lost your sound.
I got muted for a second.
Oh.
Go ahead.
Sorry. Yeah, I can hear you. No, I can hear you.
Yeah. So Tevin Coleman wears out over a course of the season, right? Because he runs so high and he doesn't really make anybody miss. So there's so much contact he takes on his lower body. It's just the attrition of the season. McCaffrey is so quick and he runs behind his pads so well. I personally, obviously running backs are going to get hurt, but I don't think this is a guy that you just square up and hit so much that at 26, it's just done, for him.
Right. Yeah. I don't think it's going to be an issue in that regard. I think they're going to put him in positions where they can get the best out of him, but they're also going to take care of his body. I think they have to. They don't have any other choice, because if he gets hurt, say if he gets hurt in 2 weeks, you're back to square one with this offense and not having a healthy running back and things like that. So, but yeah, like what you were saying with the way he runs, I mean, he is a smart player. He doesn't always look for contact. Now, there was a play where he absolutely obliterated Taylor Rapp at the end of a run that on a pass he caught out of the backfield last weekend. But that's Taylor Rapp. I mean, it's not like running into a huge linebacker or defensive lineman. Taylor Rapp isn't good.
He's not very good.
He's not very good, but
no.
But even you can see even the way he braces for contact, he gets low, and that's what they need to do. A lot of these running backs in the 49ers offense have a tendency to be straight up and down when they run, and that's part of the reason why none of them are that durable anymore.
Agreed. Right. It's one of the most underrated things to me about Frank Gore's career when we talk about durability. His pad level, and then
super low.
Right. And then he had that subtle quickness in the hole that you could never get a square up, straight up shot on him. It's one of the things I really like about Lamar too. I don't think Lamar takes the beating that people think he takes because of how good an athlete he is, and then his ability to just avoid bigger hits. But Rich, I know that you're in a time crunch. I can see that you are also handling father duties here as we are doing the stream. So I really appreciate you joining us. There's one last question that I wanted to ask you. There's been this prevailing narrative that has been kind of getting pushed around 49ers Twitter a little bit, and, just in general around, the 49ers, that Mike McDaniel was the genius, right? Mike McDaniel is what made the run game work. And I don't put stock into it. To me, Mike McDaniel is a smart coach, a good coach, and he's doing very smart things in Miami. But I also think Shanahan is really smart. So do you think, answer this question directly for me, CMC's versatility and capabilities making up for losing Mike McDaniel in the run game?
No, because they're not doing see, this is the kind of the thing I've been talking about all week too, is the creativity is still there. I wrote a piece last weekend about it.
Where can they find that piece, by the way?
You can find it at I believe it's on my page somewhere, but it's westcoastfootball.substack.com, and I think it's a subscriber blog, but I think I made that one free. The last 2 articles are free on there, so anybody can read it. Sorry, my kid just flush the toilet. That's
no issues at
I
all.
don't know if anybody heard that, but no. So the creativity's there. They're running a lot of the same stuff they were with McDaniels. You're just not getting the amount of explosive plays that you have in the past because of the running back depth. I mean, you're down to Jeff Wilson as your number one, well, before this week, but no Mitchell, who we know is a speedster. He can hit the hole pretty fast. Tevin Coleman, he's never really been a great running back. He wasn't a great back in 2019 for them. He was a good pass catching back, but that's really the bulk of his career with Shanahan, is being that really good pass catching back, which is important. Yeah, which is important. But when they lost Mostert, I mean, really, they haven't had the kind of explosion or explosive run plays that they had when they had Mostert. So that's really what I think they're missing, is the speed. It's not so much the creativity. I mean, if you want creativity, just go watch Navy football or a service academy team run the ball 50 times a game and watch all the different ways they run it. That's creativity.
Right.
What we're looking for in the Shanahan's offense is the adjustments they make, play to play, series to series,
Right.
game to game, with how teams like to take away the edge. And they're doing a lot more of the things we kind of expected them to do this season, with running a little more inside between the tackles, because teams are putting 3 and 4 players on the edge when they get out to the edge. So you're seeing a lot more counter, you're seeing a lot more power, you're seeing a lot more trap runs between the tackles, because those are the runs that are there now for this offense. And it's just kind of cyclical. This was the same trend in 2019, running a little bit more between the tackles because the edges aren't there. They have all those weapons at their disposal. It's not like, yes, he is known for being an outside zone, wide zone running scheme coach, but they have everything at their disposal in their playbook to run when teams take away what they want to do the most. And they're doing that this year. It's just Wilson isn't maybe the best guy to hit that hole. There was a run, I think the second play of the game on Sunday against the Falcons. If Christian McCaffrey hits that hole, he's gone. Like, he ran between 2 blockers, and for some reason he stumbled into one, and it was a 3-yard gain. And that was against against a heavy 8-man box, 7-man box. And even still, like, McCaffrey's hitting these boxes, these 8-man defender boxes in Carolina, 8-9 men, and he's getting 14, 15 yards on some plays. So it really is what he brings to the offense over any of the other guys they have in the backfield.
I mean, yeah, you go watch the last 2 games, right? I would say the Niners and the Rams both have big defensive lines, and they're very, very sound in terms of how they fit the run. They're very, very gap accountable. And Christian McCaffrey, he's got it. He makes both run defenses struggle at times to get him. And I wanted to add,
the 49ers struggled against him in some plays.
Exactly. I mean, there was a play that the touchdown he scored, Hufanga overran him to the alley.
Just completely made him whiff. Yeah,
right.
It's tough. When you get him in the alley, unless you're
good luck.
Yeah, unless you're like an all-pro safety, you're not going to tackle him.
Yeah. And I wanted to add to 2 things you mentioned, Rich, because I think 2 things are really important, right? This idea that the creativity isn't there. The entire creativity of this run game is being able to run your run game. So what are the 2 or 3 runs you major in, and being able to run them against any front? So the creativity is just changing, which is the unblocked guy, what you do against this front, right? And we're seeing that every Sunday. The Niners have the plan on how they want to run the football. There's just been execution issues. Well, you talked about the explosion, right? This was the same issue last year. What saved them was Debo's speed, because Debo's speed now allowed them, when they ran this wide zone with the toss, Debo was fast enough to beat linebackers and everybody to the edge. And now it sets up their entire offense. That's not going to happen this year. Fronts are too wide, and they're too ready for Debo and his speed. This will solve that problem.
Yes, it absolutely does. She doesn't have school today, so it absolutely does. Carolina's running him primarily inside when he lines up as a running back. They do some wide zone, get to the edge type stuff with him, and he does have his fair. He does get a fair amount of yards on those runs, but his strength when he lines up in the backfield in a traditional running back set is up the middle and running something like duo, where you get the read on the linebacker and you go the other way. And that's really where Carolina made their money with him this season in the running game.
You posted a great example, by the way, this morning of him running duo versus the Saints. I think it's a really, really good play to watch if you want to see some of the things that Rich and I are talking about. Rich, I got one last question for you.
Sure.
So it's something I wanted to ask you before. We had the issues with my audio, all of that. Now we're good. It's about the Trey Lance element, right? This guy is 26 years old. He's going to be part of this team. Like, this is not a Christian McCaffrey. We win the Super Bowl this year. We're in cap hell. We're going to start cutting everybody, but we won the Super Bowl. So we found a solution. This is a long-term move, the way his contract is laid out. We know how much Shanahan loves him, and then all of those things together, right? And there's something you and I have been texting back and forth about, and that's the element of, with these fronts that the Niners are seeing so much, having the quarterback read element to account for and have this 11-on-11 football and then running inside zone from there. That was Trey Sermon's game in college. For whatever reason, that didn't work out. We drafted Ty Davis-Price with the same intention. For whatever reason, that didn't work out. Christian McCaffrey, some of his best years with Cam Newton, was a lot of this read element, shotgun inside zone. And he's so good at running that. Can you explain to everybody why he's going to be such a good fit with not just Jimmy, not just make them better this year, but with Trey Lance and the entire vision of this run game long term?
Yeah, well, not only will you be able to run the inside stuff, you'll be able to run outside zone with the zone read. So that's a little bit more of what Shanahan did with RG3. They do run inside zone, and it is predominantly, like, 49er fans are used to seeing that with Kaepernick. That was all inside zone right. Read. Shanahan does both. I mean, what it's going to do is even with Lance, you put Lance in pistol, they may not run zone read, but now the defense is thinking, okay, now we have to account for the goddamn quarterback. Now we load the box with an extra defender, and it doesn't matter because the 49ers have it blocked up, and that extra defender that goes unblocked is actually blocked by the quarterback's read. So they make defenses wrong, and they always automatically get the +1 in the blocking. So that was the case with Lance before he got hurt. You could see the Seahawks fronts trying to account for that, and they couldn't really. And then you get Lance gets hurt, unfortunate. Jimmy comes in, and then Seattle just starts stacking the box because they know that they're not going to run zone read with Jimmy. And that's what it does. If you can get Lance in the backfield with or McCaffrey in the backfield with Lance to run zone read once in a while, you're automatically going to have an extra blocker be +1 all the time against whatever defensive front they're running, unless they just want to completely put everybody but the corners in the box. You're always going to have that advantage, and that's what they do, and that's why it's going to be hopefully so successful with them next season too. And I think they're still going to have – it's not like the Sanders trade where they only have him for 8 games and then the playoffs and that's it. He's still under contract, so I think they take on that contract next year, and he's still there, and then they work out another deal, and you probably get him for 3-4 more years and at his prime.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. How are we looking on time for you, Rich?
Probably right about where I need to be. I got a lot of stuff I got to wrap up before I head into work today. So,
all right. Well, then thank you so much for joining. As always, you guys know where to find him at Rich J Madrid on Twitter. He's really brilliant. He's very kind too as a human being, despite the way he tries to portray himself on the app. You might find him 10 threads deep.
Nicer relative to previous years.
You might find him 10 threads deep if you follow him debating something absolutely useless at 12 in the morning at Twitter, or you might find him posting some very useful things that he's seen on film. But make sure you follow him. Make sure you're subscribed to his Substack as well. It is one of the most informational pieces of Niners content out there, and I think more Niners fans need to see it because Rich is doing something that all football fans should want, which is try to educate the average football fan, which is a good thing, really, for everybody. But Rich, I really appreciate you coming on. You're the man, and hopefully we can do this again with less
Yeah,
audio.
absolutely. Thanks, Vish.
Absolutely. So that was Rich Madrid, everybody. I'm going to get back in here with my normal banner. And yeah, I will, maybe answer a few questions here. I appreciate all of you for joining. Please like, subscribe, share. Sorry about all the issues with audio and all of that at the beginning. I appreciate you bearing with that. It's still a work in progress, but we're all very excited about Christian McCaffrey, so it makes it all worth it. And then I did see the man in the comments section right here. I got to give him a shout out. Where is Jesse? Well, I can't find his comment, but I did see Last Second Sports right here in the comment section. Make sure. Oh, there he is. Make sure you subscribe. Jesse and I were actually supposed to do a show today, but things didn't 100% work out with timing and all of that. We need to do a show in the near future for sure, though. And then, so Jesse, speaking of which, make sure you're subscribed to Last Second Sports, by the way. Do you see a downside at all? I personally do not. And Jesse, that's the question I've been asking myself all morning, right? And that's why I keep prefacing everything I say with, I'm a 49ers fan. I'm biased, but I try to keep it objective usually. I don't see the downside. Look, the picks are one thing. Second, third, fourth, fifth. That's rich for a running back, right? It's rich for a running back. But the player is that good to me. The player is that good. I would have traded 2 first-round picks for Christian McCaffrey a year ago. That's how good I think he is. Now he's had these injuries, he's whatever, all these things now. We're unable to see it, but to me, the player is that good. It's 100% worth it. I don't know. I don't see the downside. Jesse, I thought you had a really, really good tweet this morning about paying Debo and how if nobody was upset about paying Debo, they shouldn't be upset about the McCaffrey trade. Thought that was right on. That was a great take because I'm 100% with you there. I did want to get to Scotty Dippin's comment. I did star it. I'm sorry, Scotty. You kind of asked this question right in the middle of our audio issues, and Emmanuel says he won't forgive me for it. I'm sorry, guys. If I can't get his forgiveness, I don't know what I'm doing. But jokes aside, I really appreciate the donation. And you said, can't help but look at it in short term. We might not be alive Sunday. This doesn't make us any less horizontal. I hope Trey Lance comes back 100% and pans out. No, this is not true, actually, Scotty. If Rich did a really good job talking about it, and I know the timing of you sending this comment and then is all a little off, but the Carolina Panthers run game with Christian McCaffrey was a lot in between the tackles. It was a lot of power, counter, duo, inside zone. If you asked me to pick, those would be the 4 runs, I would say. In Christian McCaffrey's career in Carolina, that is what he did. That's all inside the tackles. That's all, stuff you would run with Frank Gore. And Christian McCaffrey has the ability to run in between the tackles. He's really tough. He's really tough. He has great vision, great pad level. He has unbelievable strength too. He can really hit linebackers in the hole, but then like it's the play that a lot of people are talking about. I don't really get on Hufanga for it because it's a really, really tough play when Christian McCaffrey gets ahead of steam. It's tough to not overrun him and meet him in the alley. He is so good. I know how this is coming across. I don't want it to sound that way because, I'm doing some major, what they call deriding right now of Christian McCaffrey. But what I've been watching this morning, it's that exciting. I'm going to take a couple more questions, so please do throw them into the chat. Again, I appreciate all of you for sticking around, sticking through the audio issues, listening to the great Rich Madrid as well. Please like, subscribe, share. It really does mean a lot when you guys do that. I do have a couple of these videos that the ratio is not doing good. I put out the video of Tart a couple of days ago talking about the injury, and Tart has that has like 80 likes and 3,000 something views. So it means a lot when you guys throw the like button. It makes me feel it's very gratifying. But Greg Thames asked, "Is he better than Debo?" And this is something I talked about at the beginning of the show. Um, I am maybe the biggest Debo fan on. No, I don't want to say on earth. Debo has a lot of big fans, and I don't want to discredit their fandom too. But I'm a big Debo Samuel fan. I've been exceptionally supportive and believing in him and him having big seasons, him having, being acknowledged as one of the best weapons in the NFL, best receivers in the NFL. In fact, Rich, who I had on before me, we debate about Debo maybe once a week where we text back and forth. And, it's not like a debate. He might say something somewhat, you know, not he might say something that's maybe a little bit more negative than about Debo, and I'm all pro positive Debo, whatever. He is a little better to me than Debo. He is a little better all around football player. Now there's an intangible value to Debo that you can't really provide a numerical value to, and that is the emotional effect of Debo Samuel on a football field, right? The physicality, the energy, all these things he plays with. It's an intangible effect that makes everybody better. But from a pure polish standpoint, as a football player, he's a better runner than Debo, right? He's a true running back. Debo doesn't. Debo's explosive. He has great run instincts, but Christian McCaffrey is like a special, top-notch, like elite, like Dalvin Cook, Nick Chubb, refined running back like that. And then as a receiver, obviously he's not as good as Debo, but I would take his receiving over. I don't know if I would, but I think he is a little bit better than Debo. He's just a little bit more of a refined football player than Debo. He's got a little more polish to him. And then he's an exceptional athlete. Like some of the things that the testing numbers don't show, right? Actually, maybe they do, but he has unbelievable balance. Contact balance is unbelievable. The quickness, the short area quickness is unheard of. The agility, his ability to make people miss, all these things are really like top notch skills. I don't know, but I all I keep seeing is like a wow type football player. Maybe we'll all maybe see it this Sunday. I don't know. Maybe again, I preface all of this by saying I am a 49ers fan. Them getting Christian McCaffrey makes me really happy. I try to keep it as objective as possible, but like what I watched this morning, holy cow. Holy cow. That's all I could keep saying. Yeah, he probably has the best hands on the offense. There's no doubt about this. He catches the ball away from his frame unbelievably well. Like when you're ticking boxes for what he is as an all-around football player, there's no weakness. There is zero weakness. Maybe not the home run hitting speed you would necessarily want. Like I think Elijah Mitchell might, be able to be faster over a longer time than Christian McCaffrey, but he makes up for it the same way Debo, makes up for not having like being the fastest guy, right? Debo probably he ran 4.5. I think he probably plays like a 4.4 guy, but Debo's first 10 yards are 4.2, 4.3. He runs like that. That's kind of how Christian McCaffrey is. Like the immediate acceleration, explosion, decisiveness, agility, all these things are it's it's wow. That's all I can say. Wow. Man, oh gosh. Rajay says he's a better RB, not better overall. I could see that take. The point is that he is an offensive weapon the caliber of Debo Samuel, which should let you know how excited you should be about the Niners acquiring him. All right, guys, I think I'm going to take one more question here. So I'm going to try and find the question that I deem the best. So if you got a really good question, you better throw it in the chat right now because I'm about to make a quick decision on the last question I answered. Or if you don't have a question, I totally understand that. I've been talking about a whole lot of nothing a little bit here because I've been just kind of in this state of just like, wow, with what I've been watching with Christian McCaffrey yeah. All right, fine. I'm going to take a couple more questions. I see a couple good ones coming in. Are we winning the Super Bowl, Raul? I just want to answer like a, defiant yes, absolutely right now because that's how I feel right now. But I think there's a lot of things that need to happen in an NFL season. I'm just on cloud nine right now. Big Man City is asking it twice, so I'll answer it. How many touches does he average per game? It's got to be around where Debo is right now, right? They try to get Debo 10 to 12 touches a game. Christian McCaffrey should be 12 to 15, 12 to 18. I don't look, they're going to play it safe with him because they have probably such long-term aspirations for him. And so they'll probably play it safe. They'll probably try and protect him as much as possible. When it comes to the playoffs, if they manage to run the ball 20 times a game and Christian McCaffrey gets 20, I mean, they're going to shoot for 30, 40 runs. That's a Shanahan philosophy, right? Good defense, 30, 40 runs, we win the game. 30, 40 runs, we win the game. That's how he looks at it. That's his way of playing complementary football and winning the game. And in those type of situations, in playoff moments, hell yeah, I say, give him 20 carries. He's that guy. Ben Poole asks, Christian McCaffrey doesn't seem to fill a need. Surely an old offensive lineman and cornerback would have been better use of a draft pick. Also very injury prone, still a great player. So the injury prone thing is tough, right? He's had 2 seasons now back to back that he's battled with health concerns. And I think a lot of people then immediately attribute it to the attrition of playing running back. And he had a lot of wear and tear in college as well, even though he didn't get hurt. I understand that. I don't know if I would call him very injury prone based on that. Surely fill a need. I don't know what offensive line people have been watching this year. Trent Williams is Trent Williams. He's coming back. Aaron Banks has played terrific. Now, Brendel, you got me there. There's no words for how he's been playing. I think a lot of people can watch it just on TV. It's not been very good. Burford has been solid. McGlinchey has played well this year. There's a lot to be positive about with the offensive line. It's going to get better with reps and playing together. I'm positive on the Niners offensive line. In fact, I'm confident that they will be looked at as a top 10 offensive line by the end of this season. Cornerback, I get it, but there's not depth in cornerback anywhere really in the NFL. It's tough to go acquire cornerback. I Ben Poole, your last statement to me is all that matters about this. I appreciate the donation, but still a great player is exactly all that needs to be said about Christian McCaffrey. He's still a great player. Raymond Martinez, and this will be the last question I do take. So I appreciate all of your support. Please do go hit that like button. Just smash that like button. We got Christian McCaffrey. Smash that like button the way Christian McCaffrey is going to be running through the Chiefs this Sunday. I don't know. I'm just talking now. But how many points does McCaffrey boost his team on average? Over under 6. My guess is we are a touchdown per game better. And I think Raymond has the right idea, right? Because the second part of his question, touchdown better, is right on, because it's not just like, oh, McCaffrey is such a great player, so he's immediately going to make this offense like better just by his individual talent. It's just what he's going to do for the other players on this offense, right? There's so much creativity and diversity in terms of personnel usage in this offense. They like to be in 21 personnel, right? 21 personnel, 2 backs, 1 tight end. That's the eligibles. Usually you've got 5 eligibles, quarterback, 5 offensive linemen. So simple math, 5 eligibles. We're talking about, right? Usually with the 49ers, they want their 5 eligibles to be Deebo Samuel, Brandon Ayuk, Kyle Juszczyk, George Kittle, and Christian McCaffrey. Why is that important? Well, in terms of the entire offense from a personnel standpoint, that's 5 different guys that can carry the ball in any given play. So the run game is creative, diverse. You have to account for every single player in the run game. Then the pass game, right? You can easily make that look like 11 personnel. Ayuk is the single side X. You have some sort of stack and bunch with Deebo, Kittle, and Christian McCaffrey. Garoppolo's in the shotgun. Juszczyk is next to him as his pass protector or whatever. Bang. You're still in 21 personnel. Defense is probably defending you from base. There's not linebackers in the NFL guarding Kittle or Christian McCaffrey out of a stack or bunch. There's no way that's happening. So, yeah, it's going to make the offense a lot better. It's just, okay, like, I'll be a little bit of a Debbie Downer and say health is the one concern, right? But we can talk about health if the injuries do become a problem. Right now, everybody in the guys I mentioned is healthy, so I don't think there's really a reason to talk about it. And yeah, the Niners, are definitely a significantly better offense with this guy. He's unbelievable. Last question, official last question. A lot of people are starting to notice this tendency with me. I say last, and then I can't stop myself. But I just wanted to bring this point up by Shades by Chardal. CMC, I don't know if this is the actual Chardal, by the way. If it is, shout out to you. Fantastic content on the Cone Phone. I used to love it every week. But CMC was healthy 4 out of 6 seasons in the NFL. Not bad for a guy playing on a crap surface. Absolutely. To me, his health has been a little, maybe overdone just because of the attrition that goes on with running backs in general. And everybody just wants to be right on the next running back gets paid. He's going to get hurt. But it's not the same thing. All right, guys. It's been 55 minutes. I appreciate all of your support. I am a little bit over time here, but again, I appreciate all of your support. It's been very fun to get on this stream. I'm sorry about all the audio issues. Surely that won't happen again. I'm also sorry for the delay and the little bit of the confusion getting Rich in, and that's all my mistake. I will definitely get all of this in much better fashion next time and give you a better production quality. But again, I appreciate all of you for joining. This was really fun. I will definitely try and stream one time before the Niners Chiefs game. If I don't, I did preview a little bit with Jaquaski Tart last week. If you liked that and preview and talking football with him, that could be a recurring theme. So let me know if you liked it in the comments down below. But otherwise, I will see you in the post game. And after the Niners Chiefs game, hopefully it's a victory for the Niners. But I appreciate all of you and have a great rest of your day.